Are we gonna do an opening joke?
Nope.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
Meow, Daddy.
Colin has officially turned into a cat girl, and I am scared and horny.
Death to furries.
Cat girls are not furries. They're a little different.
Yeah, they kind of are.
They're borderline.
Definitely some crossover there, but talk to a furry. They'll tell you cat girls don't, they're not furries because they're different. They don't exist. Cat girls don't exist.
What?
You can't make a cat girl. They're bioengineered hybrids. Furries exist. There's a difference. It's like this much. It's enough.
And welcome back to the dimecomicbros podcast.
Also, women don't exist. Prove me wrong.
They don't. I saw on this video, it was like, what is it? This type of bird. What's that bird on the Fruity Loops? Fruit Loops.
Toucan.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like a bird like that, and like on its back, you can like pull up like some of the hair, and like the skin, and there's like an opening you can like look right through, and it's so gross. I don't know how to explain it. And there's like these like little slimy things that were connecting it. It was like just a flap of skin that was still connected fully, except for like a cut hole.
And how did you get there from cat girls?
He's toucan sexual.
Because if girls don't exist, birds don't exist.
And birds definitely don't exist.
Birds don't exist.
They're all government drones.
Yeah.
So on to other.
Wait, do cat girls chase toucans like regular cats?
They chase furries.
No, they chase birds. Cats chase birds. So do cat girls chase birds?
And furries.
They chase off the drones.
Yeah.
Hence why we all need a cat girl to keep us safe from the government. So on to other government conspiracies. We got a new trailer for Black Widow. I'm really tired of Black Widow trailers.
I haven't watched it.
I meant to watch the Loki trailer.
Oh, I didn't watch that either.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So
we should do that.
So
that kind of explains the weird lettered, like undefined font for Loki's name.
Yes. I kind of like that little nugget.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a lot of time jumping in that, so that probably explains how the Tesseract is back in its original shape before it got smashed for the stone inside.
Well, it was stolen in Endgame.
Jacob, this isn't a prequel. This is alternate timeline Loki.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's time jumping. So that's how we have the cube instead of only the stone.
Well, we got the cube in Endgame when they went to get it the first time.
Right, yeah, they did go back in time there, didn't they?
Yeah, it was before it got crunched.
And that's how we have the shows, because Loki took it in that movie.
So okay. I've been kind of bitching about this in the group chat for a while.
Yeah, you have. I think on the show too.
Probably.
Have you?
But yeah, because I think it's potential. I don't see the whatever it is that they're going as like the overall narrative, why this ties in instead of it just being, haha, it's more of the heartthrob doing sneaky stabby things, which is cool and all for 14-year-old girls. But those of us who give a shit about anything other than he's hot and slimy, it doesn't, at least for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to continue with this old version of the character that hasn't gone through any of all the interesting stuff he actually went through. But the trailer's putting up some more interesting ideas in terms of at least settings, whereas I think this will probably just be a lot of fun and then it'll be done. I'm hoping.
Yeah, all the settings and the surroundings, the colors are beautiful.
It is very pretty.
It is very pretty. And it has all the colors of the stones.
One of the final shots, I paused it, went back and looked at it really quick. It looks like it's set on the planet where Widow dies, and it's possibly Widow staring away from the camera. It's really hard to tell because it's dark, but it looks like red hair.
Yeah, it looks like him. It's like half locations we've seen before, and the other half look like a whole bunch of new stuff. So it could be good. Owen Wilson, lots of wow. Much
Yeah, that that made me go a little back. That made me sit back a little bit. I was like, "What? Okay, wow."
So,
Wow.
yeah, much wow. We got a trailer for Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1.
I saw that.
I don't care, honestly.
It feels weird to have Jensen Ackles voice Batman for me, because oddly enough, his voice sounds too gritty to be Batman.
That's weird.
Isn't that weird? Especially for like this kind of young Batman for me. Batman feels like he has a stern, soft voice in my head.
I mean, it depends.
Because that's how Kevin Conroy sounds to me.
True. I don't know. There's something about it's partially just Batman burnout, honestly, but also I don't like Jensen Ackles. I don't like Supernatural. I don't like this weird, cringy cult that follows him around. He was pretty solid as Red Hood, but
he was amazing as Red Hood
6 years ago. Like, okay, cool. He's older now, and I don't think he's gonna do like a horrible job or anything. But the voice cast looks fine. It's just another DC twist on a book that we've already read.
A classic DC book. Like they're kind of just playing all the hits.
Yeah, and I understand that, like, because originally they had some that were based on books, and then they had the other half which were kind of tied into a narrative. They've broken up basically all of it, so they're just all either random new things like Superman Man of Tomorrow, which was really good, and then you have the ones based on the book properties. And I think it's interesting they're chopping it into 2 parts because it is a big book and I think it deserves it, but I don't care. I'll watch it when I'm bored.
Yeah,
but I'm not hyped at all. It's another animated movie. I'm gonna be like, hey, it's solid. I'll go read the book though.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be okay. Like, not as good as. So I see like Batman Under the Red Hood. That was like prime.
That was
Batman
excellent.
Cartoons.
Yes, because it condensed the story into a more digestible and I think better format, kind of like the Dark Knight Returns movies did. They chopped out just a little bit, and it was a little tidier.
It was iconic dialogue as well.
That's a really good point because this is advertised as part 1 of the Long Halloween, so they're probably not going to trim any of the fat if it's split up into 2 movies.
Well, they may, because with the Dark Knight Returns, they split that into 2.
That is true, and the Long Halloween, I believe, has a higher page count. Part 2 is also rated R officially, so that's the only thing that's remotely interesting. Ooh, there'll be blood.
Long Halloween?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There'll be blood. There might be a titty. Big deal.
Nice.
But I don't know. The animation looks better than what they've been putting out lately.
It looks all right.
Like, if you want to revisit or do a version of one of the books, you have like Red Sun, which was almost identical, and then you have
Red Sun was pretty good.
It was pretty solid, but it was basically the book. And then you have Gotham by Gaslight, which was almost the same, but there were some pretty large deviances. And I think I think you'll like it. I think if you're going to do it like that, I think that's a good way to do it, is have a good few like large changes to it. Otherwise, it's just for normies, which is fine, but don't expect me to pay for it.
So I actually don't mind that we have these many like okay cartoon movies, because there's definitely going to be people that will never read the comics but are still interested in DC or Marvel because of the movies, and then they get these cartoon movies. So that gives them a way. Yeah, it's a halfway point. It also gives them a way to like just watch cartoons and kind of like reliving their childhood, but in I guess a more quote unquote mature and adult way, I guess.
I suppose. I mean, they certainly have their place. There's nothing wrong with them existing. It's just one of those things where I wrote it down because it's one of the only things we had this week, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. Star Wars Bad Batch is confirmed to have at least 14 episodes due to an interview with the composer, who said he was composing for episode 14, which obviously implies there's at least 14 episodes. And we do also know it's going to have a 70-minute premiere episode.
Ooh.
So that's cool.
Holy shit.
That's a basic, that would be the 3-episode Clone Wars arc shoved into a movie type deal.
Right. Dude, this is just Star Wars The Clone Wars season 8.
It very much so is. Who cares?
I'm so happy.
That's pretty much what I'm expecting. So I don't know. I either have to binge the ever-loving shit out of the Clone Wars right now, or just roll with season 8, but not really. Like,
Well, did you watch season 7?
no, I've watched
So-
the first
Oh,
2
just
I
seasons,
can
skip
sort
everything
of.
and just go to season 7.
No.
'Cause I skipped a lot.
For the, yeah, I know that. But what I'm saying is for him, I can get you a list of the arcs that are relevant to the troopers, and it's nowhere near as much. And I think that would be, if you want to be
That's
more
true.
prepared.
I want to be prepared if we're going to be covering it weekly.
That's true. The
I
arcs-
can shoot you over a list. It's like a third of the series is based around the clones, and then they end up, getting weeded off slowly. And then we got the introduction of the Bad Batch in season 7.
The clone arcs are really good.
They are.
If you're too if it's too intimidating to try and pick up the whole series, at least look up and watch the clone arcs, because they are one of the most intriguing and
they make the prequels worth it.
Yeah, heart throbbing.
Rest in peace, 99.
Rest in peace.
So, we covered the released trailer last week without Spencer. So, what did you think of the trailer?
It's fine. When it comes to these sorts of things, whereas I'm going to watch it regardless, and it's not like the most hyped thing in my mind, I'm not watching everything about it. Like, I'm still looking forward to Black Widow. I think probably more than both you guys.
I'm excited for it.
I'm
more excited for it than some of my least favorite Marvel movies. Like, I actually see a point to watching this one, so I'm ready to watch it.
What's that guy's name? David Harbour's playing him.
Yes.
What's his character? Like Red Star,
yes,
like Crimson Patriot or something.
That's one of those
Not
two.
Patriot.
Russian Captain America.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. He looks like he's going to be great.
Yeah, but like for Bad Batch wise, I think it's cool. It looks like they're tying in a lot more of the modern Disney era characters that they've already introduced in other shows and stuff, and I think that's good.
What's her face?
That's the more
Mandalorian,
right? Like, I think that's the stuff in the trailers that's getting my attention. The rest of it is, I don't want to watch parts of these arcs play out. I just want to watch them. Like when season 7 was rolling around, I watched the tease trailer that came out like 3 years beforehand, and then I watched the first one. I was like, and we're watching them. I don't care. I'm the only reason I end up keeping up with the trailers is because of necessity, because of this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can live without certain trailers.
Yeah. And then last bit of news from comicbook.com. Joy Hummel, who was married twice over the years and thusly used the name Joy Murchison Kelly at the time of her passing, the first woman to ever write Wonder Woman's comic book adventures, has passed away at the age of 97. Hummel wrote all of the Wonder Woman stories that appeared in Wonder Woman, Sensational Comics, and Comics Cavalcade from early 1945 until she retired from writing in 1947. But all of the comics were credited to Charles Moulton, a pen name for William Moulton Marston, based on his name, and Charles Max Gaines, the co-owner of All American Comics, the subsidiary of National Comics that published Wonder Woman officially. That was a long-ass sentence. Hummel was little known over the decades before Jill Lepore spotlighted her in Lepore's 2015 book, The Secret History of Wonder Woman. People are getting old and passing, and it's pretty sad.
From how you're saying it, I think it's great now that even though they're passing, people are like recognizing them and appreciating them, because I feel like writers and just people of that nature in the comic book industry don't get enough recognition unless if they've done what they've done became popular for whatever reason.
I mean, yeah, you're right, because you have like different creators of, I mean, even I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and I feel really bad, but the creator of The Winter Soldier is like barely getting any royalties from Marvel right now, even though the character's blowing up. He's like, I love what they're doing. I gave it my blessing, but they're like people that even the creators of a lot of the characters, as they get more popular, they're written into their old contracts and they're getting over like really hard. And that sucks. But on the bright side, as with this, which came to attention, that was a really good book. I did read it when it came out a couple of years ago. We also, we have like the big one with like Bill Finger finally getting attached to Batman properties, the man who like did all the work. So there
He did
obviously
the details.
right. It's obviously sad that people are passing, but at least people are properly getting recognized now.
Something that was not included in the news, and I'm just winging it right now. Colin, I saw a headline this week about the quote-unquote final Evangelion movie.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Have you watched it yet?
No, because, well, okay, listen. It just came out in Japan, January 23rd.
Dude, that was 3 months ago.
Listen, I haven't heard anything about English subs even being attached to the movie yet, and or brought to America. Pirators can't even find it right now. It is very difficult. Evangelion, I can't stress this enough. Evangelion is one of the biggest, literally biggest stories and influences in anime and cartoon history. It's basically as influential as Akira's bike trick, because you see that in like every single cartoon.
Dude, Akira's good.
Like Batman animated series, Robin did that in Robin's Reckoning.
I remember that.
I remember that.
That's
too.
actually how I found Akira way back in the day. I was like,
Really?
wait a second, I've seen that somewhere. I flicked through a bunch of stuff I'd seen, and then I found it, and then I watched it.
Yeah, so I love when artists do that, but it is immensely difficult to get a hold of Evangelion in America. It's a huge thing in Japan now, so I'm probably going to have to wait until end of the year for even someone to legally get it for me.
Or I see the simplest solution is to just fly to Japan.
I was going to say, I'm surprised you haven't learned Japanese by now, just so
Right.
you can watch it.
Or not even watch that, just like enjoy your anime.
The visuals.
Yeah, without needing subs or dubs. Like,
I need the subs.
so our main topic this week is titled Catwoman When in Rome, finally, because we have put it off so many times.
We have.
Yes, the horny book.
Yes. So this is a 4-issue miniseries, which was published in 2004, written by Jeph, Loeb, and Tim Sale. It timeline-wise takes place roughly parallel to Batman Dark Victory. Essentially, real nice plot summary. Catwoman goes to Rome with Riddler. Horny shenanigans. End of book. It's so short. And
Like,
so simple.
She even says in the voiceover, basically, that she doesn't know why she's going to Rome. Like, that's how loosely this story is.
I thought it was
strung
hilarious. I thought that was pretty funny.
It's something about she's trying to figure out her family and where she's from, and
Who daddy?
Yeah, she's trying to figure out who her dad is, thinking
she's
is what's
related
his face?
to the Falcon somehow.
Like gasp. Real daddy is Batman.
How long have you been saving that one up?
I mean,
Cartoon
like
boy.
2 hours since I read it. I'll start off. I really, really, really like this. Not because it's a horny book. Leave me alone. Like, shut up. It's short. Clearly, there are some, at least at the first like issue or two, is some, we're doing a thing. But in terms of like dialogue and structure, I think it's better than the other books that Sale and Loeb worked on. Partially just, I think, just potentially because of the size. It's not 12 to like 14 issues. It's nice and small, has one storyline to it.
I think the artwork is better somehow. It's not as
cleaner.
rough. Yeah, it's cleaner. It's smoother. It's
The colors look better, I think.
It's sexy. And that is an accurate word to describe this book.
It
It's
is.
clearly intentional, but like I think they toned down the caricatures just a little bit, so it's still on some things. At
Catwoman
least.
doesn't look ripped.
I mean, that's true. That is very true. I mean, she's
But
still
Riddler is still absolutely
Yes.
ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. It's Riddler. He's a little incel boy.
Yeah, I feel like the people usually make Riddler look ridiculous.
It might
anymore.
also be just because there's more normal people characters, and there are far less, at least less panels of supervillains that are like the hyper stylized ones. So that might have something to do with it. But yeah, you're right. The couple of year age gap between this and the other books, the art is so freaking good. Like the line work is cleaner, the panel layout's better. It's more flowy in a like at least like panel layouts. It's less a bit less structured. They lead into one another. There's some overlap. It's such a weird thing. I don't know if I can say it because it was still drawn by a dude. This feels like a feminine book in comparison to the other ones, and I think that fits well.
I think it was intentionally written to be more feminine.
Like,
anyway.
yeah, obviously
or
you can
and
only,
drawn.
Yeah, it feels, hey, this is it. It feels like a very Catwoman book, and I think that works extremely well. It feels holistic.
You know, just for the sake of shits and giggles, I actually looked up to see if anyone did a review. There has been 3 people who have done a review on this. It's small time quote unquote YouTubers have done this on YouTube. So we're one of the few that have
one.
Yeah, we're the 4th one to
We're gonna
do
steal
review of
all
this.
the views.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, I got to make sure I do my tags correctly. But I love the color palette. It simultaneously keeps so much of the like pitch black shadows that the other books have when dealing with Gotham, but the colors are so rich and velvety.
Warm.
I would say it feels less warm, but it feels more tactile. The palette might be a bit more straightforward, but the whether I don't know how on God's earth it's colored like physically, but the different textures that are utilized are so much more.
You can describe some scenes as warm, like when she's sunbathing, or a couple other times, like where they're in a cruiser or something. That you can tell that they're using warm tones.
Oh yeah,
because it's sunny out and whatever.
Yeah, I like how the handful of flashback sequences we get are done in like a very pared down style. It's similar. It feels like really early Long Halloween, but like even more simplified. So it still fits the style, but it's a strong contrast.
The colors are so it is such a contrast from the original 3, because the original 3 in art style, it was very like ink, then color, and then secondary color, boom, done. Yeah. That's how it was with this. It's like watercolor.
I wasn't sure if it would be quite the correct term to describe it, but it gave me watercolor vibes.
It is what. So watercolor is always associated with bright, vibrant colors, right?
I think of watercolor more in terms of the texturing.
That's how I see it. Right. But I'm talking about any newcomer to understanding colors and whatever. Not to sound like a dickhead, but just any newcomer.
But you sound like a dickhead.
But yeah,
it's okay.
It's fine. Anyone who talks about art and knows things about art, you're a dickhead. It's just how it is. I'm a dickhead. Anyway, sorry, Jacob. The colors are very much. I think he did. This is all like watercolor, and even the shadows aren't just solid black shadows. You know how I love solid black shadows, but some of the shadows are just darker toned colors rather than just solid black, which I really appreciate.
It feels almost multimedia. Almost. It's not, but it's closer to that versus his earlier works. It is very clearly just ink on top of pencil and lots of ink at that. And then this is just, it's so freaking pretty to look at, which matches the topic. So intentional, probably.
So at the end, when the mystery or whatever is being solved, it is explained that a major clue was hidden in like one block of one page, which is mostly filled with her tanning herself. And it's like explained away that Riddler was too busy staring at her than paying attention to the conversation. So I really liked that touch.
Yes. I think the attention to detail is very similar. It's Jeph Loeb's writing style, obviously, but because I think of the length and the more simple nature of the mystery, it feels so much cleaner and less clunky versus the other twists in the other books can be a bit much because it's relying on so many back issues.
Right. This is very succinct.
Yeah. End result, Riddler, still creepy incel boy.
Oh, major.
Just trying to get in Batman's pants as always, because not literally in Batman's pants. That's obviously
He's trying to get into Batman's boots.
More like he's trying to get inside Batman's cowl, really.
Yeah. He wants those cat titties.
Okay, everybody does.
I figured that the Italian main character, I forget the dude's name.
Blondie.
Yes, Blondie would be used more in the story, but he was literally just a backup secondary character. He wasn't a love interest. He wasn't a bad guy. He had... I don't even know if his motives were explained. It was just kind of like a bodyguard for her on her trip.
But he's tall and
blonde.
blonde and thick.
Yes.
He just looks like blonde Batman, and that's definitely intentional. She likes the hunks.
Yeah, she likes the hunks.
I did really like how the usage of Batman was it's obviously this Catwoman's a character from Batman's mythos. Batman's relevant, and it is relevant to the story, but it doesn't feel like it walks the line between needing Batman as a story element versus needing him as a character, which sounds really weird and vague. So it essentially does it lets her stand on her own as a character, even though it's like a relevant story. It doesn't feel like it's wholly reliant on Batman existing, because Batman, we don't see him like actually out of the first scene, and he doesn't have any real dialogue after that. The rest of them are just hallucinations and her being horny. Yeah, I like how it was utilized in that way, where it still feels like it's a personal issue / thingamabob. Like it's still her having internal stuff going on, but it's not. Oh my gosh, I miss Batman. Like her whole life doesn't revolve around it, even though it's still really relevant. I think it nails that balance between the two, so it's not like overwhelmingly cringe.
You could cut out all of the visuals that include Batman and leave in her inner monologue of her being bothered by her dreams that happen to have Batman in them, and it wouldn't change the story at all. The story isn't based on Batman. It stands alone. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yep. It basically, I mean, he's still relevant to what the Riddler's ultimate objective is, so you can't cut him out completely. But I think definitely if you wanted to remove the visual parts of it and just pare it down to the voiceover, it would still function.
I kind of want to keep talking about it, but it's a simple book. Like it's 4 issues and it goes quick, and it's a simpler mystery, and it's more succinct, and it's not as twisty, and like we've hit all the talking points. Really, it's good. It's really good, but it's shorter.
So I do have to say publicly, I'm very proud of Colin. When I got my book back, it wasn't sticky.
You're welcome.
Thank you for not ruining my omnibus.
No, I just looked up pictures online.
You have problems.
I got this laptop sticky.
All right. So Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 4. Speaking of sticky, the super soldier serum on the ground looks pretty sticky.
I thought it actually looked kind of runny. It's almost watery.
Depends on how you like your eggs.
I like my eggs runny.
Like your nose.
I have had a couple of sandwiches, like breakfast sandwiches I've made, and like I take the first bite and the yolk explodes out the back of my hands and all over what I'm looking at, and it gets really annoying. But it tastes good.
See, that's the ultimate struggle of runny eggs do taste better, but they're horrible for sandwich usages.
Sandwich usages, yes, but eggs Benny, perfect, all day.
Yes, big
Mix
fan.
the runny yolk in with the hollandaise sauce, and you have a good breakfast. Perfect start to the day.
You are very, very correct.
Frig we talking about?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the runny egg super soldier serum.
I'm gonna jump straight into spoilers. So it's strongly implied that at Captain Asshole, whatever his real name is, Walker, takes the super serum.
I don't think he's done it yet. I think that's going to be the opening. I think
What do
it's
you
gonna
mean you don't think he has?
because he puts it in a. We have like what a.
Do you see him jump out of that window and land?
Bends the pipe in the
Black
hands?
Widow does shit like that all the time.
No. But like, did you see how like hard he hit that other guy into that wall? Like how fast the velocity of that?
See, I see what you're saying, but you do have to take into account. Watch him throw the shield throughout the rest of the series. Man is yeeting that thing really hard for being a quote unquote normal human. So I think that's just the heightened realityism. I think he's gonna do it at the beginning of next episode.
No, I think he already did it.
What about the shot where he's coming down the stairs and there's a bad guy, flag smasher, like holding a big heavy pipe, and the dude just bends it around like a pretzel right in front of Falcon, and Falcon is like, "Holy shit, he took the serum."
I don't know, man.
Spencer, shut the fuck up.
Did.
He did.
Well, end result being bitch decapitated that guy. He is dead.
Yeah.
It like
remember the serum heightens whatever you are.
I know that.
There's bad,
but he's already been being a heightened asshole.
No,
anyway.
but if he didn't have taken that serum, I don't think he would have done that.
I doubt that. I think he's psychotic enough. He probably would have done it.
No, I don't think so.
So
you're wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
To take, I guess, the middle ground, I guess we've been seeing that he wants to be the hero, but he has some flaws that he's trying to work through.
Some flaws.
Well, whatever. Shut up. Let me do this. He has some flaws, but he wants to be the good guy. He wants really, really hard to be the good guy, but he can't. It's kind of like a Boromir story. So,
that's an idea.
You just gave me chills a bit.
Like Colin's been saying, because he isn't the good guy, the super serum is going to change that. And I think I can agree with his point that he wouldn't have killed the guy with the shield at the end if it wasn't for the serum.
Mm-hmm. So also think about it. So all the people that have taken serums, think about how they've become. Captain America was already good, a good man. He became a great man.
He became gooder.
He became gooder. And think about Red Skull. He was already a bad man. He became worse. And then you got to think about Flag Smashers. None of them are bad. And even her, she's not really bad. Is
strongly confused.
Yeah, because she's a child. So she's strong. Her emotions are strongly conflicted.
I believe they call that chaotic neutral.
Yes. On that note, something really random, which I think we've mentioned before, like a big annoyance when it's like, oh, they're like child, not like literal child, but like 17 to like 25, like young people like us. Whereas usually the actors are like really old. She's 20. Like it's like, oh dang, she's actually the age roughly of the character she's playing, and I like that. It doesn't feel weird.
So not to bash on actors, but honestly, I have a hard time with this show. And maybe it's to do with writing and directing, but I think I get taken out so often because like how they're talking to each other and how they're acting. It's like, it looks like they just read their lines over again.
I feel that. I was having a really hard time yesterday paying attention, and I don't know why.
I have a hard time with Sharon and Stan. What is up? Like, I don't remember him being, I'm not going to say bad because I like all these actors, even the new ones, but like, he just seems off, especially when I see him walk. Like it looks like his shoulders are up more and his arms are wicked out when he walks.
I mean,
I disagree with you on that one point because of how he broke down in the opening scene.
He killed the opening. Well.
Yes.
I think, besides that.
So, besides that point, I think that might have to do with the type of the prosthetic coating for his arm, because he's on screen so much more and they do more with it.
No, the scene I was thinking about wasn't with his arm.
I mean,
he had a jacket on, so he didn't have his arm.
What I'm saying is they might be either directing him a little bit on the you need to be a bit more exaggerated area, or it might be like I had mentioned, like freaking Jared Leto's upper lip with the grills was probably f***ing up his speech. It could be a small thing that just adds to it because we're looking at it so closely. Like in the other movies, and in this, it's still clearly like a CGI arm when you can see the whole thing. But this is certainly, he has something over his arm. So when he's just in a jacket or like walking around, he still has to walk like he has a prosthetic arm. So I think that could be a potential problem.
I'm not trying to bash though. It's just I'm having a hard time enjoying this one as much because I didn't get taken out 1 second when I was watching WandaVision.
That's fair. So something I did want to bring up,
even with the child actors.
Fair. So something I brought up in the group chat, which I think with Jacob and I had like a side conversation on. So there is a very large amount of speculation from various people, and then I did some research into it. And I believe not one of the head writers, but somebody heavily involved in production did kind of soft confirm there was a plot line that did get cut out like entirely. It got tweaked. So long story short, there like during the blip, there was a pandemic of some capacity or another. And then when people come back, like when the blip itself comes and then all the people come back, it screws up how the world's been functioning because it had that like major dynamic shift where essentially we moved to like a form of like global socialism and we're moving on from that immediately. And then when all these new people come in, all the governments go back to the way that they were functioning. So it explains more why they're looking for like vaccines and like medical supplies and stuff. And it explains a handful of lines of dialogue that were like dubbed over and why like the OG leader of the Flag Smashers, she just dies. And it's like, oh, she had, what was it?
Tuberculosis.
TB, which they explain as, ooh, the people here are more likely to have TB because they're all in close quarters, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, but it's TB. We've already kind of fixed that. And it was done in like voiceover. So
the point also was that during the blip, there was enough medicine and whatever else, but when all those people came back, there wasn't.
Right. So it ties more into the displacement and why it would cause such a essentially revolution. It's still fairly speculated, but I think if you look at it with a really close eye, you can see that there are parts that have been tweaked a bit. And I think that explains a little bit of the choppiness, at least for me, like headcanon wise. I can brush it off because I kind of am like, oh, okay, I could see why you'd want to remove that, blah, blah, blah sort of deal. But that's just because I'm special and I can do those things. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't excuse if it's not done well.
I also noticed when watching it weekly that there was a lot of voiceover at random places. So they definitely cut something.
Yeah.
That's easy. Everybody can agree to that.
I definitely do. I think the one person that did take me out was Sharon Carter, not because of the character shift. I think that is good and makes sense. I think, frankly, just because the actress is not great. I've never been a big fan of hers. I know Jacob's brother has a really hardcore crush on her and has for like 10 years now, but I'm not a fan of hers. I think she was fine in the movies. I like the character. I just think that might have something to do with it.
I agree with everything that you have said.
So I did, because I wasn't here last week, I wanted to briefly touch on the fact that I really, really enjoy how the, at least for me, they're not blowing the Zemo load early, essentially of, hey, we brought back a bad guy and now they're just all chumming it up. I think it, especially at the beginning, it's lessening as episode 4 goes on.
I liked him a lot in this episode, especially when he was like just talking to the kids or whatever.
I like how he just went full creepy pedo for a second. I was like, kids, come get candy and give me information.
And totally backstabbed the good guys by saying those are bad guys.
That was excellent. And
see, I understand why you guys would say like the pedo vibes, but like I looked at it as like, oh, he's a nice man. I think that's how I thought. I was just like, oh, this is a nice man.
He was trying to come across as like Santa Claus.
That's how I saw it.
But also, Colin, you would jump in the white van if you were offered candy.
You know what? How about you not out me like that on air?
I disagree with Pedo, but I like how he was still kind of tricksy, sneaky, villainy when he was being nice to the kids.
Because also think about it. He's in his perspective, in in his own little way, he's not the bad guy.
No, and I like
he's
how
just
they're
going about it in kind of an extremist way.
right. And I think Zemo is the best villain in the MCU. Thanos doesn't count because of other reasons, and we're not talking TV show wise, just movie wise. I really really liked what they did with Zemo. I like how they're merging what we had for Zemo in Civil War with like comic Zemo, where it's just like they're just retconning this shit, just like, oh yeah, I'm actually a baron, also I'm rich as like that's clearly wasn't what they were utilizing in Civil War, but it still makes sense and it works well, and they're still treating the character with weight.
Because didn't they say because of Sokovia, because of what you guys did in Sokovia, I am the way that I am now,
basically,
with his like inheritance or whatever, and how he's living. Yeah,
like I just like how the first couple of scenes, it's still like, yeah, this guy is still serious and he's still up and he's still screwing with them like a lot, and it's not just, okay, we'll team up with the bad guy for now and then we'll put him back in jail. Like even just the B plot, I guess, of like the Wakandans still following him around. It's treating the character with weight and agency, and I really really like that.
It feels like an actual comic book.
Yes,
because you get
purple
those random
sock.
Yes, but also it feels like a comic book to me because we have, first off, the plot of Flag Smasher, then we have our other bad guy who is, or what's the word I'm looking for? Our other potential bad guy, which is John Walker, and then we have our old returning bad guy, which is Zemo, and then we have Wakandans or people from Wakanda coming into this.
I thought that was a really nice world building integration. It just made sense. It's like, oh, no duh, that makes sense. And continue. And I like how it's the same Dora Milaje that
rocked by people who didn't even have serum, and he was so pissed off.
Also true. That was a really good fight scene.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned something, maybe it was like the first week of this, whereas I've been kind of like actioned out of movies. Snyder Cut 100% had something to do with that. Whereas I'm a little desensitized to it, but watching that fight was like, oh dang, they are kicking his ass. They do not take shit.
I really don't like Battlestar. I'm so glad he's dead.
I mean, okay, maybe don't be glad he's dead, but I mean, yeah, he's a dick.
No, he's like such a dick, and I'm sorry, I don't like how the actor acts. He's got this voice. I don't know, it just pisses me off. I hate characters that are like that.
And also, he gives bad advice to Captain Asshole.
Yes, he does.
Wicked bad.
Oh yeah, just take that shit.
Right?
Just take that shit, shove it right up your ass.
Because he's getting advice from another bro. Advice like that you get from like someone who's had more experience than you.
Yes.
Equal experience.
Yes.
I like how this show has made my job easier, basically. In that I can just watch it and there's very little to speculate about. Like, people are going crazy about who the power broker is, and I don't give a shit.
Oh, I don't give a shit either.
That was my only other point, was I was wondering if you guys had anything. But I agree with Jacob where it's nice having less to speculate about and more just, this is just good plot and good character and I'm having fun.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's just a fun show.
Spencer and I disagreed for years and years because he was down the rabbit hole all the time and like knew all the spoilers before he went and saw the movie. And I was like, why do that to yourself? Like, I walk in knowing nothing. I haven't even seen the trailer. I don't know who's in it, but I enjoyed speculating.
I think you're just butthurt that I made money off of The Force Awakens because I knew what the fuck I was talking about.
I don't remember that. But
brother,
I don't, honestly. But my point is, I had fun speculating during WandaVision because it was just fun to try to call shots. And it was like innocent speculation. But also, it's nice to take a break from this job and just... Falcon.
But they did say that there is going to be a major character reveal in episode 5. So, Mephisto confirmed.
No.
Mephisto confirmed! He's hidden in the blood on the shield.
All right. We're like halfway through the show, and you guys have ruined both of my individual talking points. Things that you've talked about.
Oh my
God. Me up.
So, Jacob, do you want to go first with what you?
No. I want you to talk about the point that you had in the group chat about the camera angles on Walker.
Okay, so I don't think it's definitely not like I noticed something nobody else knew because I watched it at 0.25 speed. Just throughout the show, they're using fairly similar shots of comparing Walker to like Steve, whether it be that superhero landing on the car or like when he decapitated that dude. That's mirror image of what Steve did when he was beating the shit out of Iron Man. And even back then when I was watching, I was like, is he actually going to do it? And then you're like, no, it's Steve. He's not. But there was enough like wiggle room in your mind that could have happened. Like there are enough mirror shots that are extremely similar. And it's just, I don't know if it's the costume design or if they're just doing the actor's makeup just right. But I swear to God, every shot, he just looks off. He's such a good punchable face for one. No offense, dude. Good looking dude. But like, I want to punch you in the face.
That's not how I translated your messages about this point. I thought you were saying when you said he looks off, I thought you were saying more costume design. So like I was watching in episode 4 especially, and his mask looks really, really weird. Like it goes past his cheekbones at the bottom of the eyeliner, and it goes a little bit high on the bottom part of the eyeliner. Like the flaps for his cheeks stick out kind of weird.
He doesn't fill the boots. Even though that suit was made for him, he still doesn't fill it right.
And when he, like every room he's in, the lighting just exemplifies how the outfit doesn't fit. So I thought that's what you were saying.
It's both. It just depends on my mood what I'm going to emphasize.
Isn't it funny how Captain America's third movie was really just Avengers 2.5?
It was really Avengers 3, and the MCU had a problem. They should have shuffled those cards around a little differently. But
I'm fine with it. Didn't really need a third Captain America movie anyway.
Well, see, that is my final point on this. Was it feels honestly so like WandaVision really needed like the episodic format. I think it worked perfectly for that. I don't think this did. I'm not saying that
Falcon
it doesn't.
Winter Soldier.
Not that it doesn't have like the content to fill it. I think it's very well balanced in terms of like just enough stuff. But there are so many different plot lines here and different storylines. Whether you have the just straight up American nationalism, and then you have the Winter Soldier serum bouncing around, and you have the racial prejudice stuff, and then you have the blip stuff. Like it's good, and I think they all tie together well.
It would have been better.
But you could have probably made like a trilogy out of all this with these two characters, or even just one movie. It feels like these episodes are a very long movie, but not in the sense of like a Daredevil where it's like, oh, this justifies its length. I can still turn it off after an episode. It makes sense where each episode lies. This feels like they just kind of just chopped it where they did and are like, that works.
Yeah, I feel that way too.
And there's only 6 episodes. That makes me wonder if there were maybe other plans, or maybe because of the potentially cut plotline, maybe there were supposed to be like 8 and they had to switch it around a little in the editing room. I don't know. I'm just saying that part I think bothers me more than anything else. Everything else I can kind of wave away. That one's just like, this could have been a movie, a long movie, or a couple of long movies, and I would have been fine with it. And I don't think it would have squished it too much or anything, but opinion. So Jacob, why don't you go first?
Yes, because I bitched about you guys ruining my points, I will go first. I read Doctor Strange from 2018, issues 1 through 20, written by Mark Waid and art by Jesus Saiz, or as I like to probably inappropriately read it as Jesus Says. Anyway.
I smell blasphemy.
Technically, it's okay to say Jesus Christ because Jesus Christ isn't his real name.
I think Wesley's going to sue us.
Wesley.
Suck it.
Yeshua.
I have never met you, and yet I say, suck it. All right, Doctor Strange from 2018. It opens up with Doctor Strange losing all of his magical powers. Like, it's almost like you have, like, having the virus that shall not be named, and like when you lose your smell and taste, it like dwindles and dwindles, and you're like, son of a bitch, it's gone. So it's like that for Doctor Strange, only he doesn't say son of a bitch. So he's trying to figure out what's going on, and he goes on a intergalactic adventure with some alien that he finds, some alien chick, and she falls for him, but he doesn't really fall for her. It sounds way more dramatic than what it really is, but they go on intergalactic journeys, and just each issue is kind of its own adventure for a while. At one point, he finds the dwarf that crafted Mjolnir, and the dude gives him the forge to like make whatever he wants. So Doctor Strange starts imbuing magic into armor and tools and weapons.
Magic chastity belt.
So that he doesn't have to use magic that he's lost the connection to. He can just use the tool instead.
So Doctor Strange with swords.
Yes, that was probably the highlight of this whole run. He crafted a sword, and the dwarf is like kind of giving him crap as he's making the sword, forging the sword, I should say. He's like, you always say like the freaking Eye of Agamotto or the chains of whoever the frig, but you never have your own freaking spell. And then Doctor Strange holds up the sword that he forged, and the dwarf is like, the Sword of Strange.
Nice.
And Doctor Strange says it is not a sword, it is a scalpel. And it was like so good.
Oh, that's so actually.
It was so good though.
Oh, that's great.
It was
What's this
really
one
epic.
called?
Doctor Strange.
It's the 2018 run.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I've been hoping to get to that at some point.
That sounds like I need to read it.
It was kind of wishy-washy. There were some issues that completely lost me, and I had to really, really push through to read it. Especially near the end, there's a huge 5-issue battle with Dormammu and Galactus and Mephisto.
Whoa.
And Galactus,
Mephisto confirmed.
Galactus eats like the
All the
galaxy.
I was about to say Galactus eats Mephisto's ass. Confirmed.
Galactus eats life, Earth, the universe, and everything. And
That's a lot of ass. That's a lot of ass. And balls and dick.
He's in a magical realm, and he eats all that too. And like Doctor Strange has to make a deal with freaking eternity and somebody else, and like undoes time, and it's really big and confusing, and it kind of lost me a little bit. But it helped me realize I might be wrong with the Mephisto theory in the Disney Plus shows. I've been saying he'll show up in Loki because that's where Mephisto belongs, is in the different realms and things like that. But Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness with frickin' Wanda Maximoff might have Mephisto in it.
Multiverse of Madness. Mephisto confirmed.
Yes. That's possible, but I'm still going to hold to my Loki theory for continuity.
That's going to be something in like nerd history that's going to be a joke forever. Just Mephisto confirmed.
Yeah.
Like what's his face said World War II.
Yes.
What's his face was here.
That is a lot of ass though.
One other
Can't believe he
epic
eat Mephisto's ass
moment
like that.
was a one-off. After the big fight with Dormammu, there were 3 or 4 issues that were just one issue stories. There's a car crash, and a kid goes flying out the windshield and gets injured really, really bad, and is like his brain is bleeding into that space that can't get blood or something, and he's about to die. And Doctor Strange wants to operate but can't. Because of his hands, even though he's Doctor Strange, it's like he still has to go back to what he had before, when he was an actual doctor and before he was a Sorcerer Supreme. So he finds a spell in some other magical realm that returns his hands to the way they were as a surgeon before he was the sorcerer. And operates on the kid, and it's freaking raining, and the mom's freaking out, and he's like, how are you gonna do this? How are you gonna save the kid's life sterilely in this mud hole? And Doctor Strange says, this isn't a mud hole, it's an operating table, and I'm the surgeon.
Bro,
It sounds so cheesy.
Get off me cheese! Get off!
But this series really did sell Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange is Batman.
confirmed.
Oh my gosh.
We've
Overall,
not figured out where the new Marvel X DC comic is.
overall, the series was really interesting. It was a nice change of pace from what I've been reading lately. There were a couple of weird tonal shifts I could live with, like at random points there'd be like a butt joke or something, and it's like, what?
Nice.
That doesn't really fit, or it's something like that. But overall, one or two times the art was really weird. So like there was a dog that was like painted where everything else was just normal comic book coloring or something, and it was like, what? That's kind of weird too. But it's a really good run. If I was buying it in a book or a trade or whatever, I'd spend about 25 to 35 on it.
Nice.
So that's my rating system for this run.
Nice. So I
Let me just check.
read a
this.
book. I read a real book.
A real big boy book.
More like a YA book. But I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is
What the fuck is that?
I'm about to say it, dipshit.
Faster!
Usually you tell me to slow down.
Faster!
It is a Hunger Games prequel.
All right, so slow down.
So there's the Hunger Games trilogy, right? We all remember that, right?
No.
Right? Okay, well, I liked it. The third book was
gay.
Bro, I was 13 when it came out. F off.
You.
It's still pretty solid. So it is a prequel to the Hunger Games, which follows the President Snow back when he was a small child, more like young man. It's a prequel about the bad guy. Essentially, it came out last year, which was a fair chunk of time after the Hunger Games came out. So for the most part, it was fine. It wasn't anything special. I wasn't exactly hyped for it. I was interested when it was announced. It lacked focus, like narrative and character wise, for such a long delay. Like this was really unpolished in the drafts. Like this shouldn't have even gone to the editor like this, in my opinion. It was fairly dry and unpleasant to read. And usually I can suffer through fairly dry and unpleasant reads, but this one was rough.
He reads psychology and theology books for fun, by the way.
He's true. It's very true. And I had difficulty with this one. And it's a YA book at that. So it was really dry. I think it balanced the whole, it's a bad guy, but before they were bad, but they're not all that good either. Like it didn't go full like Maleficent, like they're not evil, they're just broken. Like it didn't do that. But that's like one positive out of meh. It's fine. So I'm probably not gonna read it again. But big positive, it matches the other books. The hardcover is really nice, and it matches the other ones in terms of size and proportion, and it fits on the shelf, and it looks nice. The aesthetic.
So what you're saying? What you're saying is you don't like it dry.
I don't like it dry. I happen to be a much bigger fan of WAP compared to this, because at least that when you read those lyrics, you can slide right in and out.
I am lumping these two together because DC eventually did in the year 2013. So I watched parts 1 and 2 of The Dark Knight Returns.
Ooh, I was just
which came out in 2012 and 2013. Yeah, you were, because you were bashing it in the news.
I wasn't bashing it. I quite liked that one. Leave me alone.
I was bashing it.
No, it's the only good one.
Directed by Jay Olivia and originally, well, I guess based off the book, originally written by Frank Miller. It is amazing how closely this one is based off of the book, like shot for shot, line for line, almost. I was following along with the book and watching it, and like there were shots that were frame for frame what's in the book. There were a couple of things that were rearranged a little bit, Like in the very end, when Superman is pushing the nuke up into the atmosphere and all of Gotham loses power and Jim Gordon's taking a walk and Batman's doing his own thing. There's a couple of things changed around a little bit to help keep the flow of the movie, but all of the points are there. It's just in a different order, slightly.
So it's a little rearranged, like Batman rearranged the mutant leader's face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like there were even some jank shots from the book that I think are kind of ugly that they included in the movie and actually made work. And I was like, oh, that's what the artist intended. So I kind of like that. There were very, very, very small details added. Some I liked, some I didn't like.
Yes.
In the book, Joker is very flamboyant. But in the movie, they come right out and make him gay. Or, yeah, like there's nothing implied about it. It's expressed in the movie.
Joker's always been very gay.
I know.
You just are blind.
No.
This is actually probably one of my favorite versions of Joker.
I like how it's more subtle in the book to make you wonder. It's
so you just like
more
the aspect
implied.
of you rather the like unsaid, not because he's a homosexual, but you rather like it storytelling wise
because it's a mystery. You don't know what's going on in his mind.
So it makes you confused about what's going on. Yeah, so that's what you enjoy about it.
Yes.
Bro,
okay,
he
cool.
did a ton of love though.
And they explain it to you in the movie.
Yeah, so
he be squeezing them bat cheeks all the time.
Is the one freaking time I want it to be more symbolic, and you're fine with it being handed to you. Anyway, this has Peter Weller starring as the voice of Batman, and it was okay.
I think it is like the 1 weak point of the movie.
Yeah. The thing is, it adds to the effect that he is older. It sounds like an older Batman voice, and I can give it that. It's fine, but there's still something like a little bit off about it.
I disagree entirely.
Why?
Because I thought it was perfect. I thought it was spot on for an old Batman, especially with the art style. See, that's also what you have to consider about this is like what voice fits the art style, and I thought it fit perfectly. Like I thought it fit his mouth and the like how big his neck and jaw was.
Wide.
Yeah.
I like me some.
Yeah, his voice
Batman.
sounded wide to me. Okay, I don't know how to explain it, but that's how my brain is. Like someone's voice is thin, or someone's voice is wide, or someone's circular. It's like how warm water is round and cold water is spiky.
Yes. Water is the only like thing. It's the only liquid where the flavor is the temperature.
Yes.
Colin.
Yes.
What have you done this week?
I'm pulling it up.
Oh yeah, you're pulling it up or you're pulling it out?
So recently I have been watching, actually I finished watching season 10 of Adventure Time.
Why did you do that to yourself?
Because some of my favorite moments are in that, and I just needed the little bit of sadness in my life.
When the whole does the theme song and you just want to die. Good cry.
Also, I just loved seeing Glob, or is it Glorb? The giant red baby pyramid head face.
Oh,
that weird god.
I don't remember.
It's just I loved that part. That I think probably from season 4 to season 10 is when Adventure Time has its like it's very cartoony, but it's very wholesome, but then it has its like freakishly gods and its otherworld entities, and I that's what I love about Adventure Time so much, and just the way it goes about things. But I was watching that purely because I remember watching it only once over, and I wasn't going to rewatch the last season. But I remember that a lot of my favorite stories, the stuff about Jake, Finn with his arm, and just the like last couple episodes with like Marcy and PB. I don't really like a lot of couples in like shows.
They're so cute.
Whether it is a like lesbian, gay, or straight couple. Sometimes I don't like them because they seem so forced. That one, I love them together.
It just makes so much sense.
Also, it does make sense for like Lemon Grab and Lumpy Space Princess to be together. It makes so much sense. They kiss and her face just like sinks into herself. Or when I love my favorite moment of one of the last episode is actually when Lemon Grab takes out a note. He writes something in it and he's like puts it like folds it up, gives it to PB. And she looks at it and it says "Unmake me." And I love that so much.
It's the car. Chicks dig the car.
Shut the up. Chicks dig the car.
Oh, God, I love how we've just come full circle and those movies are great again. What is life? The prequels are good. The Schumacher movies are good. Sequel trilogy's kind of What is life?
Baby, don't hurt me.
Okay,
wait,
shut up.
Don't hurt me.
Wait.
No more.
What about the Sam
hurt you later.
Raimi trilogy? Are those in or out yet? Because
Those keep going back.
Kind of out.
Because I still like them, and I
know
think
you
there
do.
was a period of time where like people shit on them a lot because they're like, yeah, they're a bit 2000s, they're a bit dated, but like they are very timeless in terms of like storytelling wise. Some of the effects are dated, a handful of the jokes, but like visual style and like thematic substance, they're timeless.
My argument against that whole trilogy is that I understand Spider-Man is an emotional character, but he cries way too much in the movies.
I agree.
See, I agree in idea. I don't say too much. I just don't like the way when he cries, it feels weird.
It's just too often. He's crying a lot in the trilogy.
It's a bit.
So this is how we're doing tonight. It's not really what I've been reading. It's just us talking about things.
I don't know. You guys keep digressing.
I'm okay with that.
I have two more things to talk about.
Oh my!
You're right. Back on topic. The anime that Colin was watching.
No, I've
Adventure
just
Time.
been watching Adventure Time. Yeah, basically.
Is season 10 the last season?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes on for 10 seasons. The last episode is like 44 minutes long, and they're usually like 10 or 11 minutes.
The last few
Whoa.
are pretty big.
Yeah. They're like very big in the storyline.
Epic.
So that means when it was on TV, it was like an hour and a half special or something?
I think so.
They used to air at least the first few seasons. They aired usually like 2 or 3 episodes together. Just because they're so freaking short.
They would.
And then because Cartoon Network kind of tried to bury the show for like season like 7 through 9.
Yeah.
It was weird. So then season 10 premiered kind of funny.
Weird.
Yeah,
it's weird. Like the most
they're so
popular
stupid.
show ever. And then they
Right.
kind of tried to bury it for some reason.
They did that with all their popular shows, like Clone Wars.
I mean, yes, to a lesser extent though. Like Adventure Time would have pulled in the numbers if they hadn't put it to like the bottom of the list and overlapped it with an Adult Swim and then shoved Steven Universe all over it and then shoved Teen Titans Go all over it.
Okay, so
And
Teen
now
Titans
Cartoon
Go,
Network is literally only Teen Titans Go for 8 hours of the day.
That's why they shouldn't have Teen Titans Go. Steven Universe was one of their best shows, I believe.
Yeah.
Steven Universe is one of my favorite. So actually, I was going to say this about The Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Returns is on my top 10 favorite DC Marvel cartoon movies.
Yes.
Adventure Time.
Top 10?
Yes.
Because that's
5.
there's a lot of movies, and like 10
Top
seems like
10.
a really big number.
It's top 10.
Where
Not-
in the top 10?
it's
Bottom
not
top or
animated.
bottom top?
I don't rank them like that. I just say that this is my top 10 because it gives me too much thinking. And
It
Steven
seems
Universe
kind
and
of low
Adventure
when you
Time-
say that.
Shut up. Steven Universe and Adventure Time are on my top 10 of favorite cartoons ever. And that's a lot because I like a lot of cartoons.
I'd definitely say Steven Universe is a bit lower on mine. Adventure Time is definitely up there. I made that very clear while I was watching it that for the first like 2 months.
Steven Universe and Adventure Time are like neck and neck to be like 1 and 2.
I get it. it's got just a little bit too much of a toddler type edge to it that I don't like, which is weird because I think the show does approach a lot of very mature things extremely well. And honestly, the biggest thing that I really like is like positive single dad representation. That was I love that. But then Steven himself is toddler like the whole show, and I want to rip him to shreds.
You shut the fuck up. Sometimes he's like the most mature, like emotionally mature person in that show.
I mean, sometimes yes, but that's also because most of the people in the show are like mentally children, and that is the point. And a lot of them grow,
and that's just humans in general. Even like gems being basically humans. We're so off topic.
But it's like if you take Finn in the first episode, I messaged you and I'm like, I hate this kid, and you're like, wait, Finn develops, I think, very consistently and very strongly. The voice gets less annoying as he gets older, as the kid gets older. Steven Universe evolves, but it's over a much shorter period of time for less seasons of TV, and I think a lot more jarringly. He's less of a consistent character throughout the things. Like, whereas like Teen Titans Go is sometimes they have really good moments. Like they do unironically have good moments, but all of the characters are so inconsistent with their own characterization. They're interchangeable. Like Robin acts like Robin 10% of the time, and then the other 90% of the time you can flip them all around and they just do the same joke.
Yep.
It's like that with Steven Universe a little bit. It has a little bit of you kind of just devolve to a baby for that joke again.
I still disagree with you on that. I think you're entirely wrong about that.
I have
Spencer,
a thing. Can I do a thing?
This inspired Evangelion.
Yes.
So I read The Flash by Grant Morrison and Mark Millar.
Whoa.
So this is during the time period in the late 80s where it was, while the primary writer of The Flash was taking like a year off, these two guys filled in for a few stories. So this is just post Crisis on Infinite Earths. So this is Wally West Flash. Whereas I think mentioned a few times, I am not one of the people whose butt hurt because Wally's been getting the rough end of the stick lately. Like Barry Allen is my Flash because that's what I grew up with. But after reading this book, I understand why people like Wally equally. So
I'm still confused on how he's not your Flash because you grew up with Justice League, right? Cartoons.
Yes, but he's pretty much just Wally in name only. He's mostly Barry.
He kind of is, isn't he?
And he wasn't a very large part of that show either.
But
he was relevant, obviously. He's part of the Justice League, but like outside of the Flash costume,
I'm gonna need to rewatch that show. Yeah. That might be one of my topics. Oh, your hair is flowing. Thought you were for a second.
Stop making Colin hard. So this is 11 issues from 1987. Did you name your dick
Colin? It's a concern.
Oh God, I did not want to see that.
He reminds me of Jared Leto in the Justice League movie.
Oh boy. Okay, so this is 11 issues. It's 4 arcs and some change. So there is Emergency Stop, which is basically just there's a suit. It's a super suit.
Super suit.
Honey, where's my super suit joke?
Honey, where's my super suit?
Yeah. So the suit is either technology or it's possessed. So it like consumes whoever wears it over time. Like it takes their life energy. So it's like golden age cartoony, but it's got an edge. It's the late 80s. It's campy. It's fun. It's quick. The Human Race. This is where freaking Wally like beats instantaneous travel through the 4th dimension. Like he utilizes all of Earth to run so he can channel their energy, and he runs faster than instantaneous. Like he like loops through all of time. It's weird. He defeats some space gamblers. It's weird, but it was pretty cool. The art is pretty rough. All of the art in here is pretty rough. There's different artists for each different story. This one was kind of rough. There's a story arc that I don't remember. It was the Flash, Green Lantern, and Green Arrow. It was pretty crappy, so I skimmed through it and I didn't have anything to say. It wasn't terribly enjoyable. And then there's Black Flash, which has amazing writing. It's basically just the Flash outrunning death. Like this is the first instance of the quote unquote the Black Flash, which is just how people with the Speed Force interpret death. So it's not a person, it's just death, but he run fast. So the story premise is really good. Like they start seeing the Black Flash in like photos because like Wally's been marked because like Barry's dead, other speedsters are dead. Death actually takes his girlfriend Linda Park for a short while. Instead of taking him, he gets depressed. He grows a goatee. It's very 80s. And then they have a showdown in an airport while everybody's frozen. The speedsters team up. They do a thing, and then instead of like traveling backwards, he goes so far forward in time that the concept of death itself doesn't exist. And I love the ending of this thing.
Whoa.
So he goes like there's voiceover like he 20 billion years, 50 but like after he goes through past heat death, like everything, and then inevitably he's just into the white void, whereas death as a concept doesn't exist anymore. And then that's how he defeats death. But the art in this arc is so it's absolutely horrendous to look at. The proportions are janky. It's blocky, but angular, and it's gross, which really does not go well with the writing. Gross. It like Wally West has a ginger goat, like a little like soul patch. Ugh. It's gross. So this is overall like a really mixed book because I think the writing is really, really good, but the art is so late 80s, it just gets progressively worse. So really depends on if you can get through the art because the writing is good. So I think Jacob might like it. Colin's gonna hate it because the art is pretty rough and Colin will not be able to read it.
Yeah.
But I do understand why people like Wally West a bit more now. He does have his own distinct personality, which it's nice seeing that back like when it was at its inception, when he first became primary Flash. Mm-hmm. So that concludes this episode of the Dime Comic Bros podcast. Big thank you to our partners over at Jetpack Comics in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire, which should be your destination for basically anything geeky. If they don't have it in store, you can order it. Give them your money. Tell them that we sent you. Does us all a favor. Check out the new shiny red bags. They're pretty dope. Also a big shout out to... Are they
shiny red bags?
They are shiny red bags.
I was thinking they were black bags with like red liner, and I was very wrong.
Nope, they're not black with red. They're red with black.
Yes.
Also a big thank you to our patrons. We now have 3 $5 patrons. So we have
3 patrons.
So we have our patron saint. I almost said Satron Paint again. We have Business Casual. We also have Jeph Lawrence, and we have our new plebeian Wesley Eaton, Colin's brother.
My big brother.
Thank you for simping for us.
You will be getting access to our OnlyFans.
Yep. There will be some very exclusive content going up there fairly shortly. We do have a few excerpts from the show, as well as some nice photos going up pretty soon. Stay tuned. Keep in contact. We'll be sending you guys all the new stickers as stuff goes out. So if anyone wants to become a patron and give us all the OnlyFans money, you can find us at patreon.com/dimecomicbros. We have lots of different tiers. You can get stickers, get social media follows if you want to buy clout, because we have clout, obviously. You can get some art commissions done by Colin, Mr. Art Boy.
It's me. Sure. Friendly neighborhood art boy who procrastinates his artwork.
Yeah, you do.
You'll get it late.
You'll get it at some point. It
Sorry,
will happen.
Jeph.
It will happen.
Have I gotten my artwork yet?
What was I supposed to draw him?
The sticker.
Shit, that's right.
Nice. So, Procrastinator will inevitably get you your art. I will make sure he does because I have to lick the envelopes before they go in the mail.
He is my manager.
Yes, I'm not your secretary though. Get on top of your
Jacob!
You can also find us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I post some memes. It's a little bit of shit posting on Twitter every once in a while. If you go on the Instagram, there's some behind the scenes photos. You can get previews of our shows before they come out. Send us an email if you want to just send us memes or feedback, positive or negative, or just stream at us. Or if you want to have a partnership, not the romantic type, the business only type, obviously.
Hey,
Sorry,
hey,
I'm
hey,
taken.
hey. I am single and ready to mingle.
You are a single Pringle. And yeah, I mean, if you're interested in Jacob for his luxurious voice and long, luscious locks, feel free to send us an email. I will forward it without looking.
And boomer opinions.
Also true.
It's a package deal, people.
That is true. He cannot not be a boomer.
He is forever boomified.
Yes, he does have the big boom boom.
Big boom boom.
Big boom boom in the pants.
Next week,
we will be reviewing Justice League from 2017. It is going to be nothing but pain. Absolutely nothing but pain. Please stay tuned if you want to hear us cry and wail and have gnashing of teeth.
This might be the first episode that I skip.
Schweppes is high class. Dude, it's the better of the ginger ales.
Bruh, everyone's grandma drinks Schweppes because it costs like 5 cents.
You shut your whore mouth, all right? Schweppes is way better than Canada Dry.
I agree with you, but that doesn't mean it's high class.
Mhm.
Talk about my whore mouth. You're the one who's kissed a woman today.
You know what? You're only saying that because you're jealous.
Maybe. But again, femoids don't exist.
This is
So
true.
you're just kissing your imaginary friend.
I'm just kissing a robot.
Oh. That was a big sneeze.
Thank you. It was so loud that Zoom yelled at me and was like, "Hey, if you're talking, just a reminder, your mic is muted."
Nice.
Jacob.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Stop.
get it.
Stop.
Mike Mignola.
Fair.
Zach Daddy.
Hey. You have problems. I am so sad. I did.
him.
What?
Keep your politics out of my comic books.
It's true.
Just samples for you to use if you please.
So
Excellent.
we'll have the sexual noises for whenever we do stuff. Whenever Jacob does a boomer, we need crotchety boomer noise.
Yeah.
I already have one. I
Oh, you
literally
have.
have one saved.
Good. Use it.
I do.
I haven't heard it, but I'm also.
Well, it's because
stupid.
he also doesn't get that way that much.
This is
I
true.
try to keep it out of the freaking show. You'll
Don't
notice
try.
I stay muted a lot because it's like, ugh,
No, share your opinions. That's why we're here.
I know.
Have you ever met my brother?
I think they'd get along.
No.
They have similar.
That's so weird.
They have similar boomerisms.
Literally anyone I talk to, they've talked to my brother and they're like, you are like a calm, approachable version of your brother. I'm like, thank you.
Didn't even watch like an episode of anime or something after work.
No
Okay,
titties.
so
Goth girlfriend anime titties. Come on, give me some.
see, I was watching Demon Slayer. I don't know if there's anything. Titty Slayer.
Doom Slayer.
That's such a good album. Ugh.
I was at work this week and a coworker out of the blue looked at me and started talking about all the anime weeb shit that he's been watching. And I'm
Wow.
looking at him like, yeah, I know about it, but it's weeb shit, so I don't care. And he just kept going. He didn't care that I didn't care. He was just talking weeb shit.
His hair is so pretty right now. Just look at that.
I braided
very
it just
pretty.
for you,
Just look
Colin.
at that.
I
shit.
saw it. I
Just
liked
look
it
at
a
that
lot.
shit.
I was jealous.
I only know
Genuinely, I am jealous of your hair. I wish I had like long locks like that.
I only know the 3-strand braid.
You
should-
trying to teach me how to braid. My brain
Learn
just
how to do plate braids so you can make a bullwhip out of your hair. Okay, what we should really end it on is somebody scream at Spencer for pulling the condom off.
Spencer! Stop
You
taking
just-
the condom off. I don't get pregnant.
Just f***ed up the mic.
You did actually say that a previous week, and I considered leaving it in, but I didn't know if there was enough context for the condom.
I think we've mentioned it enough. I don't know if you. I don't remember if you've included it or not.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last screenshot that we have to take.
Yes.
Next week is in person.